video cassette and select DVD. They'll leave you screaming for more.
Hi. Hey, ghoulfriends. I'm Chase.
I'm Beyza.
And we are here to talk with you about queerness and horror. Do I have that right? Or is it horror and queerness?
I think what we said was why queer horror matters.
Why does it matter? And we're going to be exploring these topics by sharing some of our favorite queer media, how it's resonated with us, and also share some other queer media people that we like through YouTube and podcasting, and yeah,
And
that's
slay.
the vibe. That's the vibe.
That's the vibe.
That's the vibe.
And I hope you're all doing well. I think we wanted to do this episode because we're both just kind of like, girl,
Things are happening.
things are always
Legislation
happening.
is being passed. Legislation is being proposed. Fascism is on the rise.
Heard of it?
Heard of it.
Yeah, and we like to mask our pain by making jokes.
Making jokes and also talking about, I think I'm really happy that we're doing this episode because it feels like, not that it's important in terms of I don't know how much good it'll do in a political sense,
Yeah,
but I think
right.
it's important for us as creators. And I think that, I would hope that people that might be listening will find some sort of catharsis or representation or
and-
emotional validation. From
Yeah,
it.
for sure. And I think joy can be political in some cases, and not that queer horror matters because it's political or because it's not, but hey, horror is political
And
and gay.
and gay, and they have a T-shirt to prove it.
Yes,
I kind of want one of those.
I don't know if they make them, but I will look.
Okay.
I just it's been some time and I'm just tired, but
I'm tired.
I hope this is a fun little bit of an escape because I know I'll be listening to things
I've
that
been reading
are
things.
needed when we're trying to escape the reality that is our world.
Yes, 100%.
But speaking of,
What have we been watching lately?
I know what you've been watching. Do you want to share?
a couple hundred hours of Survivor per
Just
day.
a quick couple hundred.
Yeah, no,
Quick.
and it's so funny because I pay $10 a month for Paramount
I don't think
Plus.
that's that bad.
Oh, to me
comparatively.
that's a lot. Well, I don't know. I was paying for the $5 a month one, but with the
not sponsored.
well,
I wish.
Yeah, I do. I really do wish because
You don't have to
it was
pay that.
it was with the ferocity that I started to watch this show Survivor that's been around for 20 years that I finally just started watching for the first time in my life. With the ferocity in which I dived into this hyperfixation, I realized, I am going to need to pay the primo bucks to have no commercials.
Right.
So now instead of hour-long episodes, they're a nice healthy 40.
Love that for you.
And that's why I've been able to watch so many.
I would pay to have that.
Right?
Absolutely, I would pay.
And
That's
I
my
gotta say-
time.
and we watched an episode together. And I'm sorry for the non-Survivor girlies out there listening, but I just have to ask you, what did you
As a
think?
non-survivor girly, you can ask.
What did you think of the one episode I showed you? How high were you?
Not that.
Not that high.
Not
You didn't
that.
seem high.
No, I
was
high on
completely
life.
sober. Yeah.
I'm just not used to reality TV that isn't love based. So I was
Right,
just a
right.
little caught off guard by that.
Well, yeah, it's the
Otherwise, I thought it was
romance.
really funny.
It was fun. It's
Yeah.
funny. It's funny. Goofy.
I thought it was very funny.
Yeah. It has its moments where it's drama, but it's not really a dramatic.
No, I mean, yes, it definitely could be, but
Right.
I think you have to understand the irony that it's a TV show. They're fine.
They're getting paid.
They're getting paid.
They have medics there.
Do they? Because I know our girl is she's posting on Instagram. What's going on with
Carolyn.
Can they post on? Or
They
is
can
it,
post. They have NDAs though.
No, I know, but so is it real time or did this happen?
No, this happened 6 months ago. So they know who's winning and who's not
okay.
winning. It's kind of like RuPaul, right? So the
Gotcha.
queens will promote the episodes and post regularly.
But they don't know who wins until the final.
Right. Because the final is read live on stage in LA. Which if Carolyn is top 2, I'm flying my ass to LA and I'm watching the envelope be opened. And that's a threat.
That is a threat to everyone
That
at
is a
that
threat.
future
Everyone at the
threat to
studio.
anyone at that premiere.
Yeah. Also, I will say it's so funny. I felt really high that night because the way that we hang out together is
It's
like
a fever dream.
It is a fever dream, and I think just like because it's like almost like not habitual, but like it's like whenever we do have our
definitely
high
is.
movie nights. Yeah, but whenever we do have our high movie nights, it's like this is the one time I didn't take an edible for this one. I had like one glass of champagne and like
Stinky champagne.
stinky champagne, but it tasted so good.
I'm glad.
Whew. But no, and it's just so funny how that it could be such a placebo thing because it's like
Yes.
like when Blake and Arabella walked in after getting high, I was like, oh, I feel
Absolutely.
Stony Joni.
Yeah.
Isn't that weird?
No, it makes sense. I don't think it's weird.
And it's like sometimes like
valid.
when I watch like shows that like I watch exclusively high, if I watch it sober, I'm like I still feel it.
Yes.
Anyway, just a random thought about sobriety and the use of drugs and the effects on the brain. So what about you? What have you been watching? I mean, I've also been watching other things, but what about you? You go next.
Oh, I watched Swarm.
Swarm.
I was gagged. I was appalled. I was scared.
What was your favorite thing about the show?
My favorite thing about the
No
show,
spoilers, don't
no
worry.
spoilies, obviously.
Oh, yes, spoilies?
No spoilies. You didn't
No
watch it.
spoilies. Yeah. Yeah, okay, no spoilies.
You haven't watched it, and I don't know who has and hasn't watched it. But if you know, you know. Dominique Fishback is probably one of the better actors of our time.
Wow.
Right now, she's amazing.
I love that.
And I think the show really like showed. I've seen her in things before, but not like a leading role like this. So I thought she was amazing. She had so much range as like a actor. And you know, we need more psycho girlies.
Always. Always.
She's like, yeah, she's like she's my new Pearl.
Oh.
I love her.
I love that.
I love her. And it was just like, yeah, just an interesting concept that could have been done very badly, but I don't think it was done too badly. I think it was, and the cinematography was really cool to look at.
Good.
I enjoyed
The
her.
cinematography.
I enjoyed she.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. I'm glad.
How about you?
That's
Anything
good.
else?
I watched Blade Runner 2049.
Right.
I'm a Blade Runner girly now.
That for you?
Collecting them
Who
like
is in
Infinity
Blade
Stones.
Runner?
Well, the first one, Harrison Ford.
That's why you're watching it.
He is
When
my
did that come out?
man. 1982, I think.
80s?
Yes. No, it's
Oh,
and it's and it's
wow.
one of those movies that like,
Damn.
you know, you kind of hear about it a lot.
Yeah.
And then you're like, okay, sure. And then you actually watch it and you're like, oh, like it's actually like good.
Cool.
Like it's really good. So I watched that for my second time, which was nice. And then I watched this sequel last night and
Is
it's
he in
so
it?
good. He is in it, but Ryan Gosling, who I don't like typically, is the new Blade Runner. And I have to say though that like Ryan Gosling killed it. And like I don't like him.
He's in that movie that everyone's obsessed with, Drive. Have you
Baby
heard of it?
Driver?
No, Drive.
Just Drive.
I think it's just called
Yeah,
Drive.
probably. I probably have heard of it.
I think like he's like is he like a darker type character in this?
Yeah,
movie?
it's like cyberpunk.
I think
broody.
he can do that. I think he does.
He
that.
does do that well, and he is so pretty. And I think what works about him as like that broody type that I think people like, or maybe I'm just speaking for myself, but it's like he has that lost boyish puppiness energy, but still like dark. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, there's something about him that like
Wait, now I'm confused. Who is that?
Ryan Gosling.
Yeah, is he in Brokeback Mountain?
He's in the one with no.
Who's in
That's Heath Ledger and who's in Brokeback Mountain?
That's what I'm saying.
we're
It's
gonna
him.
we're gonna get canceled.
my
No, it's
phone?
definitely not Ryan Gosling.
Oh, shit.
Fuck. Shit.
Queer media matters. I'm looking at Ryan Gosling because I actually don't know who that is.
He was in the movie with Steve Carell, the funny one, the Valentine's Day one.
Oh, bitch. I thought this was that other one who looks like this.
Heath Ledger and the one I don't like, Jamie Lee Curtis's nephew. That Jake Gyllenhaal.
That's who I was thinking of.
Yes, that's who's in the cowboy movie. But if I had to pick Jake Gyllenhaal or Ryan Gosling, I'd pick Ryan Gosling. In terms of just if I could see myself having a pleasant time talking with them.
Mm-hmm. I feel like I don't smell good, and it's really freaking me out.
You smell great. You really smell great. You smell neutral.
What do you think Ryan Gosling smells like?
Oh God.
Here's a reminder to like us on YouTube and subscribe. And watch us over there because you can see this.
You can see it.
You can see it in real time.
See it.
Right?
Yeah.
Isn't that fun?
Amazing. Is there anything else you've been watching?
Oh, Yellow Jackets premiered.
Oh,
season.
I thought you said it was a premiere till Friday.
I said it did premiere Friday.
Oh, sorry. Okay, how is it? How are you liking it?
You were in the heat because I was like, I'll take your Paramount or whatever password to watch it, and you were just not paying attention.
No, I was excited that someone showed interest in Survival.
I will watch. Okay, I didn't know it was once because I'm used to Love Island where it's every single day.
Oh yeah, no.
So if it's once a week, that I can manage.
It's something to look forward to. It's a little treat.
If you remind me, I will watch it. I will not remember by myself.
I think you might remember.
I will not.
Okay.
Promise. You said late Wednesday night, early Thursday morning.
I did.
What does that mean?
Well, you remember.
I hate you.
Yellow Jackets.
Season 2, episode 1 is so good. What? I fucking love Yellow Jackets.
I love that.
I don't know if I've made that clear. I love my girls. My cannibals are back. And I'm living.
Was
I'm
it a
so
strong
happy.
start to the season for you?
It was a really good start to the season. People who've, watched the whole season for how you get on those lists? You let me know. I would love to watch it early. Have said that this season is better than the first season, which is insane. And I'm really scared. The ending of episode 1 made me scream. It was very late. I screamed very loud. I probably scared some neighbors. And I can't wait for the rest of the season.
I'm excited for you.
I'm living.
Between that and Succession, I'm not living. And The Mandalorian I'm watching, and it's flopping. So
Okay.
I'm like lost.
Can I say one thing?
Yeah, go ahead.
I have never seen an episode of Succession.
Me neither.
Oh, you haven't?
No.
Then why'd you say that?
Well, because I'm just saying like, these shows are premiering that I don't watch.
Gotcha.
So I'm out of the loop.
Okay, gotcha. The loop.
And the one I do watch, I don't like. The Mandalorian.
I want you to talk about that a little bit. But you're like, I don't want to. My mind's a prison. I watched the first episode because my partner's a big fan. Arabella's a big fan of it, and I watched the first episode of season 4 premiered. I guess. Girl, that shit is boring as fuck.
I think it's a little drier than
It was just not what I was expecting. Like it's filmed like it's The Office, like the type of filming. Not testimonials, but just like zoom in, like camera zoom ins, like on characters.
Oh, really?
I was like, what the fuck?
Interesting.
Am I watching? It was
okay, I wouldn't expect that from that show either. I thought it was going to be filmed like just like a modern drama.
No.
Interesting.
That freaked me out.
That actually kind of makes me want to watch it.
Go ahead. I was like, what the fuck is going on? But the acting is really good.
Good. Yes. Yeah, I heard the acting.
To be fair, I knew nothing that happened seasons 1 through 3. So maybe I'm not
a wonderful
best.
first impression, though. That's like me. I've never seen Ted Lasso. Oh, another show that's premiering that I don't watch.
Me neither.
Wow, it's just like not my era of TV.
Not watching things.
Oh, yes, that very much that. But no, I've only seen
not Yellow Jackets. You have to watch them.
I've only seen the season 2 finale of Ted Lasso.
Okay.
Like that is the one episode of that show I've seen.
That's a very interesting. My
but that's
mom
like you
loves
with this, but you've only seen the premiere of season 4 of Succession.
Exactly.
And Mandalorian is just not the show I thought it was going to be. I'm sorry.
Like,
I know, I appreciate that, but honestly, I'm in this like great place with Star Wars where I just don't like it that much anymore. In a really good way.
Yeah.
In a way where it's like I love it and I will always love it. And like,
but it can't be everything.
No, because it's flopping. You know what I mean? For me, like the past 2 shows are just like, ugh. So like, I love that I'm in this place now where I just feel like I love it. I love talking about it. I love talking about it. I love watching it. And that's it.
Yeah.
And I love that. It makes me feel better.
I think it's kind of like, there's no way you weren't going to hit like a fatigue.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I probably wouldn't have hit the fatigue if like,
you weren't.
No, not that.
Oh.
But no, I really think I do think that the quality is different.
I know, but isn't that like kind of what happens with Marvel? Is like they put out too many things to like,
and
keep
then
the
they
threads. Yeah, I'm trying to think of some franchise that I guess Marvel is like the closest I can think of that I watch and can relate to, but I don't know. That's hard to deal with. But I think you seem lighter.
That's what I'm saying. Like I like that I don't like The Mandalorian because
Yeah.
like I like it. I mean, I like it. I mean, I don't hate the show, but I'm like, yeah, this show's just like not.
It's
what
not what
it
it
was.
used to be
yeah,
for you.
Yeah, and yeah, exactly. And it's
I
not.
haven't. I don't.
And it's telling a story that I literally like objectively didn't want it to tell, and I love that for it. Like go off, but like I just don't really care about it. But I love again. I can still talk about it. I love that people love it and go off. Everyone goes off, and I get to like log off. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And I get to like
Yeah.
just kind of enjoy not liking it. It just feels good, not like because like okay. When I joined, and this, then we'll move on. But like when I joined like the MCU fandom, I never loved all of it. That was
No,
never
it's
a
not
part of
possible.
the equation, right?
I think
'Cause
it's
there's so
insane
much.
to think that that's possible.
Exactly. And so, but with Star Wars, when I
you
joined
say that, you're
Star
lying.
Wars, I loved all of it. And now I'm starting to see, I'm like, oh, I don't love all of it. You know what I mean? Especially with some of the newer stuff that's been coming out.
Yeah.
So I think that's like, and now but like, I've never been stressed about liking Marvel because like, it's always been like, I love it, but like, if it's not great, it's not great, whatever.
Yeah.
But now I'm kind of there with Star Wars, which feels really good. Less pressure.
Good. No pressure.
No pressure.
No
No
pressure.
pressure.
Well,
That being said,
so many. Well, now you can be obsessed with Buffy. If you have not been keeping up with our Buffy
Hellmouth Homos.
Hellmouth Homos
HH.
sideshow, we just finished season 1, and we next week or maybe the week after, I don't remember. We're talking about our season 1 thoughts and finale and the all of it. And we just filmed it before this one, and I'm still a little. Ooh.
I know. No, I'm really happy. We talked about it after we finished recording. Definitely go check it out if you're a Buffy fan because we are proud that we did a little season 1 wrap up and it was a very thoughtful and fun conversation to have. So would recommend.
And we love Buffy, and you
We
should
love
too.
Buffy and she loves us and we love her for loving us. Mm-hmm. Just saying.
I should have said, and I forgot
saying.
to say that by the time our next episode comes out of Hellmouth Homos, I'll have my new Buffy tattoo, and you will not know what it is because it's not until season 7.
Whoa. I like really won't know what it is.
I mean, you can deduce.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah.
It's like a special spike.
Special spike.
Like spike.
That's a stake.
Stake, sorry. Spike is a character.
It is a weapon. So yeah.
Crossbow? No. I know what that is.
I would love that, but no.
Is it like an original weapon? That's
Yes.
why I won't know what it is?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
I mean, kind of.
Like a play on.
Right. You'll see.
Okay.
Damn.
Here we go.
Here we go.
Here we go. Dun, dun,
So,
dun.
the world is scary.
The world
Am I
is
right?
scary, increasingly
Raise your
so
hand if the
for
world's
the
scary. I'll
LGBTQ,
wait.
for queer and trans people.
We were both talking.
I think we just want to get over the hump of this. We just got to get it started. We got to
I
dive
don't know how
on
to
in.
transition this.
To transition it,
Oh, can I say one thing?
please.
Our next main episode will be April 21st. I'm saying this before I forget. Our next
No,
main
you're
episode.
not. You're fully stalling.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, I know. Our next main episode will be April 21st. Chase will be in London.
London town.
Well, I remembered because you were talking about Star Wars.
Heard of it.
Chase will be. You don't have to go. Chase will be in London, so we're skipping a week. So don't miss us too bad, okay?
Don't miss us too bad, but you can keep up with us on social media. We like do the whole outro.
Ew, stop. Anyway, just needed to say that before I fucking forget.
Before I forget, but what I won't forget is this episode. It's an important episode.
Never gone.
No, never gone.
Never gone or forgotten on the internet forever.
Queerness and horror is something that obviously we've talked about a lot on this show.
That
It
is the name of our
obviously-
show.
Yeah, it is how it came to be. It is, I think, our queerness as friends and our love for horror as friends shares
You
a
gay?
lot of space. Well, sometimes depends on how many beers I've had.
Ew.
I know.
You sound like Diplo.
No, so
Let's try to be a little serious.
yeah, just for
5 minutes.
Five
Someone
serious
keep count.
minutes. 5 very serious minutes. So and we've also talked a lot about like projects that we love, like Queer for Fear on Shudder and That's what it's called?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. The amount of like
Fear, queer, fear.
all
We
of-
get it. It rhymes.
We get it.
Me saying to ourselves, we get it. Shut up.
We've just talked a lot about that overlap, and it's something that we've shared a lot with the people, with our friends that listen, and we wanted to kind of like revisit it and talk about why certain parallels exist and why queerness and queer horror specifically is important and always has been important and always will be important, especially in the political climate we live in right now.
Yeah, and we touched on it a little bit in that episode where we talked about Queer for Fear, but I think this is just kind of a never-ending conversation.
Of course.
Like, especially with, what we talk about and who we are as people. I mean, and whoever chooses to listen to us. Thank you if you are. It's just, I don't know. It's been especially hard the last few months to just like be alive. And I don't know. I want people to know that they're not alone in like feeling that way if they do feel that way.
Yeah.
And it's just like okay to feel that way. And it's not like weird or indicative of like, being like a weak person or just like not having the energy to do anything, because I think a lot of us feel that way.
And everyone processes like however they have to process.
Yeah,
so you might as well take the shame out of it, please.
And just very differently. And
right.
I don't know. It's just hard to see like a new thing every single day. And it's been that way for a long time. But I think especially in like our queer and trans spaces, it's just like, and drag spaces and all those, included. Yeah, I don't know. It's just like literally, what is that saying? Like, we got us or whatever it is. It's like, truly, I think queer people just have queer people's back. I think it's just feeling very hard to like look to anyone else for support. And I know it's there, but I think I'm just like, I don't know. It's hard.
Mm-hmm. Leaning on the queer girlies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're here for you, queer girlies.
We're here for
and
you.
Others.
Yeah. And like, not jokey. You can always send us an email or pop us a message or whatever. Because we have to stick together and we have to like stay informed and share information and share resources and all those things.
Yeah.
And share feelings. And so speaking of feelings, I think we should share some of like share some of our favorite queer horror that we've watched. Like we can just go through like short lists and then maybe expand on ones that mean the most to us.
Yeah.
I assume one of yours is going to be JB.
Correct.
Okay, great.
Yeah, I have two kind of like honorable mentions.
Great.
Just because JB is very Jennifer's Body. not me just saying JB for the entire
Justin Bieber.
Bieber. Yeah. Queer ally. Jennifer's Body is kind of
well,
ally Valentina. Is just I can't believe we still haven't done an episode on that. I don't know why.
I think it's because it just feels so big.
It's too much.
Yeah.
Like, be too much.
Be too much. Make that JB up.
One day. Maybe for Pride this year.
Maybe. Yeah, that sounds great. We'll do. Oh my God, that sounds fun.
Kind of could be
a Pride episode.
Yeah. Yeah. Jennifer's Body's on here. I don't know how much I've said before, but that was like my first horror movie that I can really remember watching and being like, whoa, I like this. And
so your first horror movie was also gay.
Exactly. Which is pretty cool.
Yeah. Yes.
Explains a lot.
Yeah, my first horror movie was also gay. Nightmare on Elm Street.
Very.
Yeah, so.
Very. And homophobic at the same time.
I know. Don't you love it? The juxtaposition. Nothing's queer, honestly.
Literally. Yeah. I mean, it's just kind of a formative movie for me and a lot of people, lots of people. And there's not much else to say about that. I've talked about it a lot. We'll talk about it again in more in depth, but I think it provides a sense of like there's a lot of darkness in it, but it's also fucking funny. And I think that's what good queer horror is.
Yep. I agree.
Yeah.
Completely.
After you, my lady.
My lady. I was going to ask you though, like what you like if you carry anything from that movie with you throughout your life, or if there was ever a point in your life in which you really carried the queerness in that film with you close to the vest.
I think I have and honestly, this kind of goes well with the rest of my picks. I have a very different, maybe, perception of like queer pain and death on TV and in movies and stuff. I think there's obviously a lot of conversation around that, and there has been for years. And I think I'm just kind of more in the middle. And I think that's something that Jennifer's Body kind of comes back to me whenever I rewatch it. I'm just like, how do I feel that there's like pain and, you know, death and trauma in this movie that is also queer? And like, should that just be all that queer horror movies are? And like, no, obviously, but I think I'm just a bit more accepting of that, and it's not always necessarily a bad thing to me.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I think I was the opposite of that for a long time. I was like,
very much
if a queer or trans person dies in this, I cannot watch it again. I'm like anti, which is fine if that, you know, is how you want to perceive that. That's totally fine, and I understand it. I was there, but I think I had to be like, girl, be real. Like,
right.
It's not always a negative thing to me. So that's kind of what I would take from it, and some other things on this list.
I love that so much, and I think we'll get into that a little bit later when we talk about the importance of queer horror. But yeah, it's like it isn't always a bad thing.
Yeah,
when that's there, I think that it can be a good thing, but it does depend on the place in which you're watching it from and like where you're at in your life. And
and I mean, there's a lot of context that goes into it. You have to be a little more contextual and like, you know. I think for me, at least, I couldn't just be outraged all the time. I have to like think of it a little more critically.
Right, exactly. And yeah, definitely I don't.
Which a lot of people don't do.
I don't listen. That's the thing with The Mandalorian, right? It's like I don't care to be outraged about a TV show. I don't care to do that.
What does it do for you?
No. I get outraged about the way I see people talk about it online. So then I just go offline.
It's so easy.
It's honestly, I'm learning so much. I would say, that like I have to say, Rocky Horror Picture Show. Is like deeply formative.
Yeah.
Like I touched my first pee pee
lepu.
I touched my first pee pee.
So there you go.
But like there was like it was so funny. I mean, I wasn't
while
really
watching
allowed
it in a movie theater.
Well, no, it was more like. Well, I watched it for the first time. I can't even say that one, but I literally cannot say that online. But the second time I watched it was like a showing for Rocky Horror Picture Show, and I had just graduated high school and I was 18 years old, and my mom took me to Payless to buy me my first pair of high heels so that I could dress up as Frankenfurter. Ally, talk about Valentina, okay? My mom literally ally because it was so cute, and they're like their parents like giving us.
We still need her podcast, by the way.
Girl, that is a good reminder. Thank you very much. I think I forgot about that. Yes, I agree about that. So we bought my first pair of high heels together in preparation for me to dress up for this shadow cast of it. And I mean, I put together the fiercest fucking cosplay anyone's ever fucking seen of that character. And I looked good. I had my youth. Maybe we could post pictures one day. Not really, but anyways, the point is we went to it. I won the costume contest.
Duh.
I was a virgin at the showing, so like I had like virgin written all over my face, like a virgin. You know what that means, right? Like had never been to a shadow cast presentation.
Yes.
Okay, great. Just so we are clear.
Right.
Anyways,
don't worry. I didn't think you were a virgin before.
Okay, so first pee-pee is this night. So then basically, anyways. Maybe this is too much, but the point is...
Be too much!
Is like the queer horror of Rocky Horror Picture Show. It has been and always will be a touchstone of my gay...
Stone.
Touch that stone. A touchstone of my gay sexual liberation. Like that is what that is. And
absolutely.
It really
I think it was for a lot of people.
Yeah, and thank God. And that's another, look at we're kind of planting all these seeds of maybe queer importance, right? That we're going to talk about later. Because it really was like, oh wow, I am like a sexual being and I'm gay and queer and that is awesome and slay. Do what you want. You know what I mean? I mean, yeah.
With consent.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I definitely feel that way about Jennifer's Body, actually. Cause it's a very like sexual. There's a very sexual scene in it, and I had never seen anything like that before.
Yeah.
And I mean, saw it in the trailer, which is why I went to go see the movie. So it was me and like a bunch
I'm
of
seeing that.
yeah, me and a bunch of 15-year-old boys. Which,
That is shut up. Was that it?
yes,
That's iconic. I love
I
that
had to
for you.
sneak into it because I was under. It was rated R, I believe, because I definitely had to sneak into it.
Damn, I love that. I love that you just saw it with a bunch of boys though. I love it. Yeah,
I was a little scared.
of course, but I'm just saying, like looking back, like kind of iconic.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah. Explains a lot. But yeah, I think there is definitely a lot of ties, which can be harmful at times, of like queerness and sexuality and like over sexuality, and that's not great. But I think it is. There are pieces of media that empower us and like make us human, because like straight people get the craziest fucking movies, and no one says anything about it. But
no,
God forbid,
they get all the movies. Yeah,
God forbid we get some homos.
And that's the thing about that movie, though, Rocky Horror Picture Show, that it really kind of introduced me to like a very grounded sense of fluidity in life. Do you know what I mean? Like every character in that movie is queer at one point. You know what I mean? Therefore, is always queer. But I just mean like there's such a charged fluidity to that movie, and to those characters that really I think was a big moment for me, and that's why I touched my first pee-pee that night.
I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
I love, what's his name?
Tim Curry.
Love Tim Curry.
Muppet Treasure Island, please. Favorite movie. Love that movie growing up.
I just love him.
I do too.
I just wish the best for him.
I do too. I agree. I love everyone in that movie. Well, maybe not everyone. There's some political differences, but okay.
Right.
Love is love. Wins. Okay. What's your next movie on? We're talking like formative queer horror right now for ourselves, basically, right? Is that what we're doing?
I mean, we can. Some of these are not as, I wouldn't say formative, but like formative in like a I didn't watch it when I was young. I watched it kind of recently.
Right. So right.
But I do consider it formative.
But it's informing your current experience.
Yeah. Should I go next?
Yeah, I would love it.
Okay, so I'm gonna say, did somebody say?
Just eat ding dong.
You know that audio? You know what I've been saying?
What?
You know what I'm saying?
What are you telling me?
Speaking of gay, you know the audio that's Wendy Williams saying, "Denial is a river in Egypt. Your husband is gay."
No,
it's so.
I'm not on TikTok.
Right. Anyway, doesn't matter then.
I'm so sorry.
I will say a formative. Okay, I'll say a formative. That kind of is about what we were talking about death, queer death, and
right.
You know, all
trauma.
That. Bly Manor, Haunting of Bly Manor.
Ooh, I love that.
And I guess Haunting of Hill House, but I would say Bly Manor is more of like a inherently queer story to me. But I think that show had a lot of divided opinions. Mm-hmm. Did you watch it? I don't remember.
I did. I actually did. Cover to cover, Bly Manor.
But you didn't like it.
No, I did, but I didn't love the ending. I didn't love the ending, but I didn't hate the ending. I just was kind of like, to me, it just, I kind of wanted something different from it. And also, I just don't do really well with like, just so fucking sad. I don't do well with like debilitatingly sad stories.
You know what? That's why I loved it.
And that's why you fucking love The Last of Us, and that's why I have
That's why it's on my list, bitch.
Period.
I don't know. There is something so like, again, painfully sad. The ending of that show and many queer shows are sad. I don't know what it is, but it just makes me like feel alive to watch media like that.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. I mean, it's kind of like the way I think it makes you appreciate what you have in your life.
That's what it is.
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, I think I'm a very negative person. Yeah. Like I'm a toxically negative person, and like I'm always like, why am I doing this? What's the point of this? Like XYZ. And I think like watching and consuming media that like shows the darker sides of like, and not even just darker, just because someone dies doesn't necessarily mean it's dark. It's just kind of life.
Yeah.
That kind of does inform like how I feel in terms of where I'm at in my relationship or where I'm at with my life, and like what I take for granted. And I think it's just like things like that are a good reminder for me. And yeah, I don't know. Death doesn't mean gone.
What's that from?
I think it's Hill House. I don't know. It's true though. Like I don't know.
Yeah.
I have I'm in my death era right now.
Oh my God. I love that.
Like I don't know. I have just been so scared of death for my entire life.
Yeah.
Like my entire life, I've been debilitatedly.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a word. Scared of death. And now I'm just kind of like, oh, I have to accept this in like any form that it takes.
Yeah.
And creates.
Right.
And I want to see it as many ways as possible to kind of like prepare myself because that's just part of life.
Yeah. I love that.
But not to the point where it's like toxic and
No,
like
yeah,
just
it's not
lesbians
unhealthy.
dying for no
Yeah.
fucking reason or queers just.
Have a lesbian die.
I mean,
No.
not that, but
No.
I think it's like you can't not show it because that's a part of life and it's
Yeah.
a part of queer life too.
Yeah, it's very relevant to just queer people, and yes, I agree.
Everyone. That's like what connects us all is death and
Yes.
being alive. Like that's
Yes.
literally all that connects us. So
Yes, and I definitely agree on like if I'm like watching something like pretty brutal, it does help inform how I just see my life the way it is. I'm like,
Yeah.
wow, oh my God, like thank God I'm not in that situation or
yeah.
yeah.
And I have another thing to say, but you go.
Oh, okay. Well, mine's like problematic, but there's
Girl,
but
I just
there's
said death is good.
but there's recent context to it. I think that like absolves me of any cancellation.
We'll
Psycho.
see about that.
It's Psycho.
oh, that's
Yeah, but some people really get into like the transphobia of it, which I mean,
Right.
pop off. Like I get it, and that's important. Like those are important conversations to be had.
Yeah.
But the way I watched it was very much like, I mean, I watched it pretty young, and I read, and it was like the first time I really fell in love with like horror cinema. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
Rocky Horror Picture Show was like horror
Classic.
and like fun, like campy horror, but this was like
a classic.
horror, yeah, and it was like noir. It was just everything, and it was like, and it was also something about like watching this like. I mean, at the time, I just identified as like a crazy little pretty boy, and this is this crazy little pretty boy on the screen, right?
Yeah.
Who's like very coded, and so there was something about it that I really like. I really just connected with, and I liked everything about the movie. But and it also like kind of like also like lightened up, like it like made me like want to like get back into reading, and I like read the book it was based off of, and like all that kind of stuff. And I don't know. For me, it was like. It was also an introduction to Alfred Hitchcock, which is like also like I love a lot of his movies and a lot of that kind of horror. But it's also like my introduction to Anthony Perkins. And then the recent context to that was what we learned about Anthony Perkins in Queer for Fear.
Yeah.
Which is that like he had a wild life. And then I found out his wife died in one of the planes in 9/11.
I didn't know that.
So he died of like pneumonia, like AIDS. It was like an AIDS. What do you call it? Like a what do you call it when it's like it complication?
Complication.
Yeah, an AIDS complication and pneumonia thing. But yeah. So I mean, we've already talked about it before. So like, but I just liked to be able to watch Queer for Fear and learn a little bit more about Anthony Perkins and like the journey he went through as like a teeny pop star. Like everyone was like, he's like a heartthrob, and then Alfred Hitchcock like really exploited his queerness and like drew it out of him and like made him to look like you cannot deny his queerness. You know what I mean? Undeniably queer in Psycho. And then he like never got work after that because he was like so like he was just so gay. You know,
Similar
basically,
with
the movie like outed him.
Similar with Mark Patton from Nightmare on Elm Street 2.
Yeah.
His documentary is such I mean, I'm sure everyone listening to this has just watched Scream Queen, but it's such a good documentary.
Yeah. So that's like the recent context that I just like that has made me even appreciate even more, especially when you consider like that he made the sequels and Scream 2 Psycho 2, as Scream 6 pointed out, is criminally underrated. And I completely agree, and I love Psycho. So call me Psycho. But
I love you, you little psycho.
Yeah.
Yay.
So that was just like very like I don't know. And that's another thing about queer horror and queer media is like there's really wild stories attached to the people that make them. And I don't mean wild as in like totally sensational necessarily, but I mean like important and interesting and things that like other queer people can learn from it.
Totally.
Yeah.
I definitely agree. I love that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I also definitely kicked the rug, so don't know where the camera's facing right now, but
Slay.
sorry.
Okay. This is
Is it a TLOU moment?
yeah.
Okay, I'm ready.
Going back to death.
Back in the closet.
Back into the closet. The Last of Us. video game and show. I would say more the video game, but the show has had like a profound impact on me as a queer person, and it just came out, which is like, that's what is crazy to me is like, I think I'm like almost 28. I like have everything figured out. I know who I am as a person. And then I see something like a TV show and I'm like,
media.
oh,
Yeah.
I don't know anything about myself.
Yeah.
So that's fun. I won't say a lot because you haven't watched it, and I don't know who, I mean, no spoilers, obviously, but, The Last of Us is like probably the queerest horror ever. I'll say that. Hot take.
I love that.
Hot take from me, but I think it is one of the queerest pieces of media that horror has ever really touched on. And I don't know.
And would you categorize The Last of Us as horror?
Yes.
It's like apocalyptic horror would be its subgenre.
Yeah, zombie, type. I mean, I think also just like
survival horror.
Survival and like just mental gymnastics. I mean, there are parts of it that are very psychological, and I mean, I don't know. It's such an important piece of my life, and I think it really informed a lot about how I deal with grief and trauma and kind of how to be, I don't know. It's honestly a hard thing to even talk about, but how to just like take agency over your queerness and like over your life. And I think the show kind of really showed that to me. And yeah, I don't know why I'm getting emotional, but I just, well, I know why, but I have never really seen, one character in particular, Ellie, is like probably my favorite queer character.
Oh my God, I love that.
And it's not even because I particularly relate to her. I do, but like, I just love seeing complicated queer characters in horror, just like trying to be a person and like dealing with the weight of the world. And it's the best thing ever.
I love that.
And I love it. And I'm not trying to be gatekeepy, but it's hard to like watch the world kind of like see what felt like not a secret, but just kind of like was mine for a little bit and was like a couple of my friends and like the video game community. Like it was not what it is now. So it's interesting to see it more mainstream and how my thoughts have only, and like my feelings for it have only grown, which is nice. That
is nice. It's nice that like a new contribution to that IP can deepen your love for it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I love that. I'm excited to do an episode on it. We're going to talk about it. We have it scheduled. We're watching it. I just can't watch it on the airplane because I have to watch like very comforting TV on airplanes. Otherwise, you
cannot
freaked out.
Watch episode 3 of The Last of Us on an airplane. I think I've said this to you like 2 times, and it's just not possible.
No, definitely no. And I also like I can't watch any show or movie that puts me on edge on an airplane. I need to be like sedated by comfort and joy. Survivor. Period, bitch. I'm gonna watch so much Survivor on that plane. I'm gonna watch Willow all over again on that plane. R.I.P. my queen, Willow.
Oh God.
Yeah. Talk about queer horror. Is Willow's cancellation? That's my queer horror life.
Yeah. Yeah. Queer and horrific.
Well, the queer is getting canceled. Anyways, which is a whole other conversation.
Who's getting canceled?
Well, queer characters, shows with representation.
Oh, of course. That's hello. Welcome to the episode.
And okay, and then I guess, well, I don't know. Do we want to do one more, or do you want to kind of like reflect on what?
I have one more if you want.
Okay, yeah, I have one more too. So I'll do one more, then you do one more.
Okay.
I was going to talk about like my recent, like, I've seen it twice recently. I just mean recent as in I didn't watch it for the first time until not last October, but the October before. So about a year and a half ago. And it was, literally a year and a half ago. And it's Dracula, 1992's Dracula with Winona Ryder and Gary Oldman. What's his name?
Girl, don't ask me.
Anyways, yeah. So I will say that movie for me really high. And then like I also watched Crimson Peak around the same time. Not queer, queer, but like not gay.
Right.
Well, anyway, it's like really like high. Like I like love dark romance. I don't know.
And you didn't like Bly Manor? Too dark.
Yeah, I like dark romance as in like
Gothic.
gothic. Thank you for putting that word in my
Okay.
mouth. Like Bly Manor is like it's too like modern and not stylized enough for me to like. I get too
Really?
freaked out by how real it is. It's like just scary and sad and dark. Like I wanted more shit that was gothic. I wanted more of like woman in white bullshit. Like
I mean,
that,
it is... Okay.
It is what?
I mean, maybe we see it differently, but I think it was described as like a Gothic romance.
But I think it's a modern gothic.
Yes.
Like
yeah.
a contemporary gothic, right?
Sure.
And that I think that just is I want classic.
You want spider
gothic,
webs.
almost Victorian.
Victorian.
And not
Gotcha.
necessarily explicitly Victorian, but like that is such a KINK for me. I just love it. I really love it. And
I was like, a what?
and kill. Yeah, so Dracula was kind of like a recent watch that I've watched a few times since, and I just find it to be similar to Rocky Horror Picture Show, further uninhibiting of queerness, where it's like it really pushes like you to think like, why do I repress myself in these ways, not just sexually,
Yeah.
but in any way, because that whole movie has so much to do with like temptation and oppression and like keeping things like, you know, tight laced versus like just going fucking crazy. Do you know
Yeah.
what I mean? And that movie has such a fun play on that. And it's very queer. There's a lot of like homoerotic moments. There's a lot of like sapphic moments, like
Yeah.
a lot of like really, it's just all over the place and it's so sexual.
Yeah.
It's like so sexual. Like they were playing at the Alamo, so I got to see it on the big screen.
You did the
And
brunch
there was
thing.
this like, oh my God, there's like these kids with their parents. I'm like, I would be humiliated to
kids.
watch this. What?
How old?
I don't know. Like definitely in high school. Which is even worse. I'd rather watch it with a kid than like a high schooler who's like a horny little kid.
Ew.
Like it just is weird. It was just so odd. I couldn't believe. I was like, I would never bring my children to see this movie.
No, they probably didn't have never seen it and didn't know like
Yeah, maybe they're like, oh, there's like a vampire movie.
Literally.
Girl, they
Dracula.
were in for a rude awakening. There is so
they
much
thought it
going
was
on.
the new Renfield movie.
yeah. But yeah, so I think that's like an interesting, like talk about
love
things
that.
that like are continuing to influence us. Like an old movie that is recent, and just there's like a boldness to it that I find very desirable.
Yeah.
I just love it. It's so unapologetic and bold and self-defined. I'm into this thing called self-definition. And all my favorite characters are doing it. All the
What is
girlies are
it?
doing it. I don't know. It's like, and that's why I like this one scene in Blade Runner. It's like, I don't know why it's like, I should talk about this in therapy, honestly, is this idea that you define who you are, period, full stop. Like, that's it, right?
What
And,
else
like,
would be defining you though?
as queer people of the world, right? And it's like,
Gotcha.
I think
Okay,
this
I
is,
see what
I
you're
think this is
saying.
being born out of the bullshit I went through online when I
Yeah.
announced my drag panel.
I see what you're saying.
But there's like, but on a more molecular level and like in a less like big picture political level, like more personal level, it's like not even like my partner can define who I am. Like I am going to say who I am,
Yes.
period.
Yeah.
You know? And so I think that like that's kind of where I'm at with like all my favorite characters and stories right now are self-defining. Elora Danan, the chosen one in Willow, self-defining. Buffy, self-defining. Rachel in Blade Runner, self-defining. Like the characters are just like defining
Women.
who they are. Women. My obsession with women lately.
Oh my God, you're me.
No, it's like so wild. And sometimes I think maybe this is a little bit too queer for the queer podcast, but like sometimes I think that like I think that the depth of my appreciation of women has like never been deeper since identifying as non-binary.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
Once I came out as non-binary, my whole perception of gender has like
And
changed
perception of society and like
in
the
society.
world.
Yeah. And like when I say like, I don't know, like I've always like loved women and I've always worked against internalized misogyny, right?
Yeah.
But I think literally after like living my life like outwardly and inwardly as a non-binary person for 2 years, my appreciation and like understanding of gender is different. But more than that, like women, like I've always like laughed and totally like kind of understood like I just think that women.
Yeah.
But now I'm in this point in my life where I'm like, no, like literally like
Thinking about women makes me emotional.
It makes me like women are so insanely. It's so insane.
I know.
It's so insane.
Yeah.
So yes, it's insane. I can't talk about it anymore. I will literally start
Imagine
crying.
feeling that way about men.
I will
Can
start
you imagine?
crying about women. What?
It's just funny, like, because, like, nothing.
Say it. Say
No.
it. Come on, say it, please.
I was going to say, like, can you imagine someone thinking that way about men? It's so funny.
Oh, literally no.
It's so funny.
Yeah. No.
Gender.
Yeah.
What is it?
I don't know. I don't know.
I know. I just, like, I love facing adversity. Speaking of queer horror, I have one more.
I would like to hear it.
Okay, well, actually, I can't pick. I'm gonna pick.
Give me a choice.
I'm between Scream 6.
Oh my god, I put Scream down too. Or Bodies.
Oh, that's a good one.
That was on my list. Go ahead.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I just think. Yeah. Anyway,
Or
maybe we could each do.
stop it. No, I'm gonna
Oh my
pick.
god, we're already at 50 minutes.
I know, that's why I have to pick one.
Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna pick Yellow Jackets. Scream
Oh,
6
good,
is
good,
on
good.
the list though because Mindy is
Women.
yes, and yes, absolutely. And I just love. Anyway, you can go listen to our Scream 6 episode.
Yeah,
I'm gonna say that.
That's where you'll get the tea on that.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm sure we'll talk about it again in the future. Yellow Jackets. Women, especially, boy, this is going to be a long one. I came out as non-binary when I was 18, 19. And even before that, I was like, I didn't have a word, obviously.
Right.
I don't think a lot of us do. And I kind of pushed away the more feminine parts of myself for a
Yeah.
long time.
Yeah, that makes
Years.
sense. Total sense. Makes total
Internalized
sense.
misogyny, like all that you touched on. And I was just like, oh, to be non-binary, I have to be as masculine as possible. That's
Oh,
literally how I was.
Me.
Yeah.
I still am struggling with that. Yeah.
I still too, of
Yeah.
course. Yeah. I still absolutely do. I was like, I cried for days when I was like growing my hair out. Like I was like, oh, this is traumatic.
Yeah.
And like Yellow Jackets, genuinely, I was like, very like re-inspired by like the feminine parts of myself.
I love
and
that.
like the exploration of female friendships, queer relationships within, sapphic communities and just I don't know, exploring the like intricacies of WLW relationships and just relationships between women in general is like so interesting to me.
Yeah.
Because there's so much depth there, and I think we all misinterpret relationships between women, romantic or not. I do it all the time. I think everyone's gay, and that's not great, but that's hey, we're learning. We learn and grow. And I think Yellow Jackets again is kind of like the survival. I love surviving.
I love Survivor.
If there's one thing about me is I love media that is about survival.
You do.
I don't know what it is.
You really do.
I really do.
Even Bly Manor.
Kinda.
Like there's that element, there's that like that grit to it, that survival grit.
I don't know. I just find it so inspiring.
I love that.
I don't know what
I love
I
that's your
don't
K
know.
and K.
Yeah, it is. It really is. And I'm like, wait, it's kind of hot.
It
to,
is
like,
hot.
Have to survive.
There is no, and there's a primal attraction.
And I just love that like that is your only thing you have to worry about is surviving, which like
Period.
sounds not.
Don't have to take out the trash.
You don't have to take out the trash. You don't have to clock in at work. You don't have to answer text messages. You don't have to talk to anybody. Like you just have to fucking live. And that is like kind of sounds iconic to me.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is.
I'll put you on Survivor. I'll submit you.
I will be dead in 2 days. I know you can't die on the show, but I will figure out how.
I'll find a way. First one.
I will find a way. I don't know. Yellow Jackets just kind of is one of the best shows in the last decade, original TV shows in the last decade. And is so well done that it's like kind of, I'm like, how did they do this? I love seeing media that's like,
How?
Yeah.
I love that.
Like it's rare for me to be like, how is this even possible?
Right.
How is this created?
Right.
And Yellow Jackets is that for me. And women. Real women.
Real women. Talk about the
Share their last
importance
one.
of queer horror.
Yes.
Okay, so obviously there's importance to representation as a concept. Having queer people on screen is important.
Heard of it.
I don't think we need to say much else about
Heard of it.
right? But we've talked a little bit about like like we've talked a little bit about like how there's a certain aspects. It feels kind of goofy saying educational because it's not necessarily educational, but there is a reality to violence against queer and trans people that yet I think you can glean certain things from watching characters survive or like not survive or whatever in horror movies. But I also think it provides like an outlet and like catharsis for, you know, a lot of women, speaking of women, a lot of women talk about like how listening to like true crime it really helps them experience what it's like to like live in fear as a woman. You know what I mean? And like, and people can have their opinions on like that, whatever. But like that, there is a reality to sort of like having an outlet of queerness and horror together that you can just kind of like have that cathartic, those cathartic moments, those cathartic beats, and also like glean things from. I mean, we've already, it's like when I look back at our list, it's like we've already talked about very like pillar foundational things that we've learned from these queer horror projects that have like influenced us. Do you know what I mean? Like everything from like sexuality, sexual expression to gender expression to survival and like appreciation and
found
family, like all those things. Like that's the importance of queer horror, mama.
Yeah. Yes.
Do you have any? I didn't even say.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say one more thing.
No. I'm trying to say less these days.
Say less. I have one question for you, so keep talking. How do you take care of yourself?
How do I take care of myself in general, or in
as a queer, non-binary person in the world, on the internet, being out on the street, all of it?
I don't know. I take care of myself by doing what I want when I can. Like if there's ever a moment where I have the choice, like I have a moment to be able to just do whatever I want. And I mean like whatever I want is like around the house. Like, I mean, like I can literally just like, I find a lot of joy in that and a lot of like calm in that because like, I don't know, growing up, I don't identify myself as a kid who got to do whatever they wanted.
Me either.
That was not an option. So like to be able to like actually like live my life as an adult and embrace the fact that like, oh, I can like get a little high, take off my pants, and just lay down and watch a 3-hour Blade Runner sequel tonight.
Yeah.
And then I do it deeply.
Satisfying.
Yeah. It's like such like a calm. I don't know how to explain it. It's like such like, and I'm by myself and the dog's asleep. Oof. It is the best thing in the world. That's like one of the ways I take care of myself is like doing what I want to do on a soul level and encouraging other people to do the same. That's one way. I don't know. What about you?
I love that.
Yeah.
I mean, what else do you need?
Period.
I mean, I'm just saying. I don't know. I think it's important to like talk about how you.
Oh yeah.
Especially when like you consume so much queer horror or like just media in general, and it's like it can be very overwhelming. And like, what are ways to kind of be who you are?
Be who you are
outside of media consumption. You know what I mean?
I agree. I mean,
I know you just said watch a movie, but still.
No. Yeah, but I agree. And I mean, there was like a weird sensation I had watching that movie because I was like, oh, this is a piece of media that I can watch and don't have to talk about. Yeah. Which, I mean, it's all a choice. And I'm like lucky that like one person wants to hear what I have to say. But like, you know, I think that there is an importance to, when I think about what I do for myself outside of media, which I think, I'm glad you brought that up because this is something I've been thinking about a lot recently where it's like, you know, like one thing I do is like, does music count as media? Because like, I mean, I'll do something going to the gym. I hate to be that person. I know I hate to be that person, but like it.
Oh, no, I didn't do that because you said that. I did it because you went like this.
Oh, sorry. So I know I hit. But it's like, oh my God. I don't know. I found that's like one thing I've done that I've like really, I did not like doing it, you know, for the first couple months, but I've created this relationship to it where like I am by myself, but around other people and a lot of queer people. It's like a very queer gym. Yeah. And I'm just like existing and I'm like sweating and I'm stretching. I stretch for so long. Oh my God. I stretched for like 20 minutes. And then, like, you know what I mean? Like, that is such a good feeling. And there's no meat. I mean, there's music, but there's like no media consumption, which always feels good. Yeah, I don't know. No, yeah. Reading is nice. Yeah. Comic books specifically. What about you?
I think I was definitely, I don't know, when I thought of that question, I was just like, what do I do? That's why I wanted to know what you do. But I think kind of what you said, like I was, as a young queer kid, I was not allowed to do anything.
Yeah.
So like even the privilege of like, this is my house, I can decorate it how I want.
Yes.
I can go on a walk and not have to tell my mom where I'm going.
Oh God, it's like I still get such a rush of satisfaction
Leaving the house.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, or going to hang out with friends. Part of the reason why I love going to like get a drink with a friend or like going to get coffee or whatever, like you guys coming over, it's like it just reminds me that like I don't have to ask anyone for permission. I don't have to worry about the social, emotional implications of taking care of anyone else in the family by doing it.
Yeah.
Like it's just, I get to just do that. Like I'm like, what a lucky person I am. You know what I mean?
I know.
And then also all the actual like practical other things too,
Yeah.
where it's like, I am lucky to be able to do that.
No, and I think I just didn't think I would ever be here.
Yeah.
So I think it's important. Like that's the other thing. That's the other thing is like I lived most of my life thinking I would never get to this point.
Right.
Of like being an independent person and being, you know, openly queer and like understanding that like what that means. And like I could go outside and just go get a coffee and come home and be fine. I could go outside and get harassed. Who knows? Like, and who knows? But I think like, I don't know. I'm just glad I have the option to do what I want. I think that is how I take care of myself. I just do whatever the fuck I want.
I agree.
In small ways.
Yeah, but
in big ways.
but in the small ways are like not only valid, but they're also like really important. Like those small ways, like all these queer people and all these like queer and trans people across the country, I guess, and world that like who have like obviously to varying degrees, but like ability to do these things, like those small things, like those small moments matter because especially when you add them up to like the quilt of our existence, like that survival and that those like small moments of like thriving are such a wonderful like resistance to any other like oppressive force. Yeah,
I think we're all, not we're all, I shouldn't say that, but I think the general picture is like, what can we do that's big? And like, what can we do that takes care of as many people as possible or like makes the most difference. And I do think we forget about the small things that we can do.
Yeah.
So yeah. And I think a small thing we can do too is this podcast. I love doing this with you.
I have so much fun doing it.
Yeah. I think it is definitely a catharsis and like just fun. I mean, like you just like don't have to worry about anything for
a
couple hours.
Yes.
And I hope everyone listening feels the same way.
Yeah.
And we love you. And this was an interesting one.
It was a good one. It was good.
No, it was good. I guess I'm just like,
it's a lot.
it's also scary to put queer things out on the internet.
Yeah.
So be nice to us. Thanks.
And if you want to look at other like queer creators, I know some creators we love are
I put my notebook away.
Well, Princess Weeks we talked about and James Somerton, both YouTubers. I put Casbro. They're great. Alexander Avila, I love them. Really, they got good content.
Yeah.
And I don't know, Attitudes podcast is fun. Yeah. Queer, funny comedy, but also like they like talk about things going on in the world. So it's like a good way to stay informed, but also laugh. I
love to laugh.
Love
to laugh. Yeah, I think there's so many. We would love to hear about the people that you like to, you know, consume their content. Rex. Yeah, send all that info and, you know, share it. You can share it in our YouTube comments so everyone can see it. And yeah, I don't know, just spread love. Spread love.
Choose love.
Love is love.
Peace and love.
But actually, love you so much. And let us know what you think about this episode. A little more serious times.
Sometimes we get serious.
Let us know what you think about everything. Let us know your favorite media you like to consume, what you like to do when
how you take care of yourself.
How you take care of yourself. You can do that.
Formative queer horror experiences. Yes. Would love to hear, and we could, if you tell us we can read them, we'll read them.
Yes, I would love to hear those. You can send those on Instagram at LGBTQVHS, Twitter at FearQueersPod, email fearqueers@gmail.com. And if you're comfortable, you can post them in our YouTube comments. Subscribe over there, okay? And yeah, our next episode, April 21st, which will be a fun one. Do you want to say what it is or no? Do you want a surprise?
Well,
we're switching up our, what was it? Like horror we missed or redoing our mistake, doing our mistake. What?
Yeah. So it was, I forget the word.
You said it good.
Oh, I don't remember. Whatever.
You said it really good. Hold on. Let me see if I wrote it down.
time.
It's important. Basically, Chase is going to be... What did you say? Correcting our horror mistakes.
Correcting our horror mistakes. You know how like there's those movies that just kind of get away and you never watch them and then you don't really have a reason to watch them or you're just kind of resisting watching them?
Yeah.
We have movies
We're
like that.
We're going to correct it.
We're going to correct it. We're fixing those mistakes and my submission is...
Get Out, I think you said?
Get Out. Okay, yeah. Wow. I feel like I just heard at least 6 people listening scream at me.
What about mine though?
It? Yeah, but like you can get away with not liking it because like if you don't like clowns, you're not gonna like watch that movie voluntarily.
So what don't you like about Get Out?
No, that's my issue. Is like I literally like it is poorly positioned on my end.
In the scheme of like horror, that is like crazy that we have not watched these movies.
No, and that's the whole point. And like the reason I can say the reason I haven't watched Get Out is because I didn't like. I'm the type of person. I went through that phase where if I didn't have anyone to see the movie with, I wouldn't go by myself.
Yeah.
Now I go to movies all the time by myself. I like doing that. But it was kind of at a very specific year, and it's also I'm sorry, not my type of horror. I don't like. I mean, now like I'm good with Jordan Peele movies, but it was like at the time like I wasn't really into like heady sort of like psychological sort of horror, right?
Yeah.
And like I know it's not just that. I don't even know, you know what I mean? But like at the time I think for me it just looked like that. It looked like intense and too heady and I'm like, never mind. I mean I've seen every other Jordan Peele movie, but yeah,
I think
that one got away.
I hope it will surprise you.
I assume it will. I mean, that's the thing is like it's not like fucking like Midsommar. Like that shit I watched once and I was like, I only watched it because I was trying to impress Blake, who I just started seeing.
Right.
And I was like, oh God. I was like,
now you have to impress me.
Now I have to impress you.
And I do not plan on impressing you by watching it. But it'll be fun to talk about it.
It will be fun to talk about it. And I'm also just excited to get the stain off my reputation for having not seen Get Out. I mean, I carry like a shame.
I think it's cool too because it's a movie. I really love Get Out and you really love it. So I think it'll be cool to have
a conversation.
Which is why we picked it. Whoa. So you can expect that first iteration on April 21st, and then the next episode after that will be whoever flop. Hopefully it doesn't flop. Don't let it flop.
Flop on the flip side.
And we love you so much.
Thank you so much for watching.
Take care of yourself.
And remember, gay frights. Wow, 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 wow.
Be afraid. Be very afraid. Now available on video cassette and select DVD. They'll leave you screaming for more.